It's never been so clear. Today, the Islanders held a press conference where General Manager Mathieu Darche answered questions about what he plans to do this draft, including what he intends to do with the first overall pick. We're going to break that all down on this episode of Islanders Digest and also talk about some other things they talked about in this press conference, including the Islanders' plans for several UFAs and RFAs. But really quickly, before we get into that, we noticed that 65% of you who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you're an Islander fan, you want more Islanders content just like this, what are you waiting for? Hit subscribe. It's free. Now let's get right into talking about this press conference. Now, it was not as exciting as the first press conference where we got to meet Mathieu Darche. It actually was only 15 minutes if you do want to give it a listen. But one thing he made very clear when asked is the Islanders are not trading the first overall pick. He says you look at everything, and as we're going to talk about a little bit in this video, that does not mean the Islanders might not try to trade back into the draft. Mathieu Darche has clarified he will do anything if he thinks it will make the Islanders better, but I think it's very clear at this point that Mathieu Darche thinks the best way to make the Islanders better, both now and long term, is selecting somebody with the first overall pick. We also got a little bit of a hint on who they are going to be selecting. Of course, he's not going to tell you. First of all, that would ruin the excitement of the draft, and you never know what is going to happen. You got to keep your cards close to your vest. But while he did not say who the Islanders are going to be drafting, there was a lot of talk about Schaefer. He was asked questions about him, and he went as far to really talk about this player and the character that is such an underrated part of Schaefer. You really listen to every single interview he has, the way he conducts himself. Schaefer really sounds like he is going to be a future captain in this league, specifically the future captain of the Islanders. Perhaps not the next captain. That's likely going to be Horvat, if assuming Lee is not here long term. But you really get the vibe that Schaefer is going to be a future captain for the Islanders. Really, everything he says, it's just he sounds like the perfect player to draft. And while Darche did not commit to drafting him, saying that there are a couple guys the Islanders are looking at and they're going to continue having internal discussions, it is seeming like that is the direction they are going to go. Take a quick look at Schaefer's stats, and I know some fans are not super impressed with these stats. Only played 17 games this year as a defenseman, but in those games he put up 22 points. And I will say, if you have any reservations about Schaefer as a player, just watch some of the clips. There was a video the other day that came out, and it was just showing his draft story, and you can just see his edge work, his balance is something unlike anything you see on the Islanders right now. He's going to be their best defenseman. Really, I really don't have any doubt that Schaefer is going to be a top defenseman in the NHL. Just looking at his skating and also his skills, so underrated, and how confident he is with the puck. This is a player who's going to do big things. And one thing Darche actually talks about in this press conference that I did think was interesting is when talking about this player they're going to be selecting first overall. And I do think it's going to be Schaefer. I think you also do need to talk about Michael Misa. I really think at this point, these are the only two players who are going to be considered for this first overall pick. I know a lot of Islanders fans do want to see James Hagens come to Long Island, come home. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Darche has not ruled out the Islanders attempting to get back into the draft, which is going to excite a lot of fans who do want to see the Islanders land James Hagens as well. But when it comes to Schaefer and Michael Misa, one thing Darche really mentioned is he expects to give whatever player they draft first overall a fair shot at cracking the NHL roster. And that's going to be something really interesting to see. One thing I will note when it comes to these players, and it sounds a little weird, although I do 100% believe that Schaefer is the better player in this draft, and I think he's going to be the best player in this draft by a decent margin. I will say Michael Misa is probably the most likely player to be NHL ready, and really why I think it's so clear that it's between these two players is when Darche is talking about a player getting a crack at the NHL. I really think the only two players in this draft that are going to get a shot at making the NHL and have a legitimate case to make the NHL are Michael Misa and Matthew Schaefer. And to Michael Misa, I feel like on this channel I have not been giving him enough credit. Part of it is I just feel like Schaefer is the better player, and I would be a little disappointed, honestly, if the Islanders do not draft him, especially now that I've fallen in love with the story after already falling in love with the skating and the playmaking. But with Michael Misa, you have a really talented forward, a center who put up 134 points in the OHL, while Schaefer, since he only played 17 games, honestly could learn, even if he did get a couple games in the NHL to really get a bit more experience. I feel like he could really learn from really dominating another season in the OHL, because while he was dominant in the games he played, putting up 22 points, and if you watch every game Schaefer played this season, he takes control of every game he played, but just because he hasn't really had that many games to be that guy who is in control, it might make sense for him to get a little more seasoning, either in the OHL or, honestly, I think the best fit, as Schaefer's actually mentioned, he will do whatever he thinks is best, whatever team drafts him thinks is best. He'll do that, whether it's go to the OHL, play college, or play in the NHL. And I honestly think college is going to be the best fit. But looking at Misa, if the Islanders do draft him instead, I think there's even more of a guarantee that this player will play in the NHL in the first season. Again, 62 goals in the OHL. At this point, what else are you even learning in the OHL? And if he does not play, whether for the Islanders, the Sharks, or whatever team drafts him, if he does not play in the NHL next season, he's definitely have to play college. Because at this point in the OHL, I feel like if you're dominating to such a level, you're no longer growing as a player. And it's going to be really exciting this week to see which of these two players the Islanders end up picking. Let me know in the comments, who do you want to see, if it's Matthew Schaefer, Michael Misa, or there's another player that you think the Islanders should draft first overall who's not getting enough credit. I know we're going to get some fans talking about James Hagens. I don't think he's going to be the first overall pick. But as I mentioned, Darche has also said he has not ruled out the idea of trading back into the first round. And he knows this question was definitely based on fans who are interested in the Islanders trading back in to bring home hometown talent James Hagens. And Mathieu Darche emphasized, I'm looking at everything, and he's going to make sure everything he does is to the benefit of the team, to make the Islanders the best team they can be. And the fact that he said he's looked at everything shows that this is something that can happen. Darche is open to trading back into this draft. Now the question really is, how much is that going to cost? Because I think one thing Darche has clarified in this press conference is everything he's going to do is for the best future for the Islanders, meaning he's not going to do this just because it is a hometown story. And I've seen some frustrated comments talking about how it's annoying that Islander fans keep on talking about Hagens because they just don't think it's worth the story. And I will say, while Hagens is an incredible story, I don't think the Islanders' interest in moving back into this draft to get him is solely based on his story. You look at his year in Boston College, playing college hockey, a level higher than what most prospects played this year that he's being compared to, and he had 37 points in 37 games. College is really, it's not there yet, but it is a much closer league to the NHL than leagues such as juniors are, as you're playing players who are much older than juniors, while as if you're a prospect, you're really playing players who are younger than you. So this is definitely going to be something to keep in mind, especially with rumors with the Islanders' different free RFA players swirling around. It's going to be interesting to see if one of those ends up getting moved to be in a trade to acquire a pick that the Islanders can trade. Can use to get James Hagens. Now, in terms of different hirings for the Islanders, Darche also addressed his acquisition of Ryan Bowness and talked about how he thought it was essential for him to be a part of the player personnel and really run that department. And that's something, it's good to see that Darche saw a hole in this team system and really addressed it. One thing I will mention, though, and this is going to upset you guys, but it seems clear, based on his comments, that Chris Lamoriello and Steve Pellegrini will both be keeping their roles on the Islanders. I had no problem with Pellegrini keeping his role. I think he actually provides a lot to a front office. A lot of Islander fans are upset that Chris Lamoriello is keeping his job after his father, Lamoriello, is moving on. I don't think this is a disaster, especially if Darche is looking at how they're conducting their business and finding a better role for Chris Lamoriello. It has yet to be revealed whether or not he's still going to be in charge of the AHL team, though. I'm really hoping he is not going to be the general manager of the AHL team, but that has yet to be addressed. And then quickly on the RFAs, really, as you would expect, Darche has not given away much when it comes to the RFA situation. He did joke that agents are really excited the cap is going up because, of course, that means they're going to be able to ask for more money. How much money they give, that's going to be the real question. Though Darche also did emphasize here that he's not going to sign any contract that's going to hurt the Islanders, and he's going to make sure every decision they make this offseason is in the best interest of the franchise. And that's one thing when it comes to Darche being the general manager of this team. I have no doubt that he will not sign a contract that is going to hurt the team. If you look at what his resume was on the Lightning, a big part of that was making sure that they're getting good value out of their contracts. And this is, and granted, he was not the general manager, but as the assistant general manager, this is a team that let go of captain Steven Stamkos just because he was asking for too much money. So when it comes to the Islanders and making good money decisions, I have no doubt that Darche will do the right thing, whether it's signing Romanov and Dobson to contracts that are fair, or if they can't come to a reasonable asking price, trading him away for a return, which potentially could be a return that involves a draft pick that could be James Hagens, or perhaps a player that we're going to talk about either, if not today, in tomorrow's episode of Islanders Digest. And finally, I do want to note, because I think this is really happy, while it is sad that Matt Martin has officially announced his retirement, it has also been announced that he will be a special assistant to general manager Mathieu Darche, which is really exactly what I wanted to hear. Early on, when we were talking about the whole process of finding a new general manager, I said there was a rumor that a former Islander was going to get a role in this administration, and I was really hoping that this would be Matt Martin, especially now that he has twins at home, and have a lot more work as a dad of 4 now, I believe. It's really good to see that he's going to still have a role in this organization, and who knows, perhaps in one day, Matt Martin will be groomed for an even bigger role in the Islanders organization. So I'm really happy to see him sticking around. Some people have joked that this means that Mitch Marner will potentially come to the Islanders, especially considering their relationship. I don't think this really changes anything, but it is fun to talk about. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this. What do you think about Mathieu Darche's press conference, and who do you think the Islanders should pick first overall? Love to know your thoughts in the comments. Have hockey discussions with you guys. If you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the channel. My name is Patrick. Catch you on the next episode of Isles Digest. Let's go, Islanders.